the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's the author of the book Guerrilla Marketing for Writers. No other than Mr. David Hancock. Welcome to Book 101, Mr. David, and can you please introduce more about yourself?
Good afternoon, Daniel. Thank you for having me. So I'm honored to be here. And as Daniel mentioned, I'm the co-author of Guerrilla Marketing for Writers. And short version of me is I'm the founder of Morgan James Publishing, the world's first hybrid publisher. But I'm also an author of 22 books. So knowing how to market books has definitely been a part of my passion over the years. And of course, with my great co-author, Jay Levinson, Rick Frischman, and Michael Larson, who all have either retired or passed away. So I'm
Oh,
leading the charge, and I'm excited to
yes,
carry that torch.
indeed, Mr. David. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. We salute you to all empowering authors out there. What inspired you to write Guerrilla Marketing for Writers?
Yeah, that was an easy book that needed to be done. Published probably 12 books before I really knew how to market books. And of course, most entrepreneurs, most writers don't necessarily know how to sell a book. And most publishers require the authors to be out there selling. So having this gap of not knowing what to do and not knowing how to do it was a very easy hole to fill. And immersed in my guerrilla marketing training with Jay over the last 30 years, we just knew there had to be a way to help authors not waste time and not waste money in their marketing efforts, but create real value. And in guerrilla marketing, it's all about doing those unconventional things that create value for the readers and value for the writers, but allowing connection and engagement with their audience. And then it's easy to sell books, but it's about consistency. So that there was just a big hole. We knew that if we would write it, they would come, and it sure worked.
Yes, indeed. And thank you for writing it. Mr. David, can you explain what guerrilla marketing means in the context of writing and publishing?
Yeah. So guerrilla marketing is all about not wasting time and money. It's about leveraging your time, your energy, and your imagination and your relationships to create value. It's about doing things that create engagement, not necessarily doing things that create views or subscribers. Because if you can give them engagement to you, that's what people want today, just as much as they want content. So connecting with them and getting in front of them from where they are. A great example would be not necessarily just doing a podcast, but doing a podcast that drives people back to your website for some sort of ethical bribe where you can capture their names and their email addresses so you can nurture that relationship. That's considered guerrilla marketing. And 105 other things also are considered weapons that you can do that don't waste time or money.
Don't waste your money, people. How is guerrilla marketing different from traditional book marketing?
So with traditional book marketing, it's about doing one or two things and preferably the highest visual things. That's what most people think they need to do. You need to be on radio, or you need to be on television, or you need to be on this particular website to catch attention. But with guerrilla marketing, it's about the smaller wins. So guerrilla marketing is about creating value and creating relationships and serving others, including could even be giving away your book to create that start of the relationship. As well as guerrilla marketing, it's about doing multiple things. Because in book marketing, people need to see you or hear you or find the book about 7 times before they think they even seen you or heard of you before, to as many as 27 times before they are ready to make that buying decision. And you can't do that with just one or two things. You've got to do it with multiple weapons, we call them. So just reaching the audience at multiple times at the same time. Now, you don't need to be doing 100 things all at once, but you do need to do as many things as possible. And you can kind of glean the things that are working and cut out the things that aren't working, but you've got a limited window. You've got to have there's a lot be going on at the same time.
Mr. David, out of the 100 strategies, do you have a personal favorite that you think every writer should try?
It's almost like asking me, Daniel, who's my favorite kid? Because they're all very, very important.
True.
From a business perspective, nothing gives you more powerful and authority than writing the book in the first place. So that is certainly a weapon, is to continue writing. But really, I think that my favorite ones are podcasting, where you can be a guest like I'm doing here today and create value for not only the host and the host audience and get people to fall in love with you, but also just email marketing. So as boring as it might sound to the rest of us, and many of us, Daniel, you might be the same way as me. I hate getting so many emails, but they still work. So
Yes.
podcasting, emailing, and then social media. Now, social media is certainly not the best place to sell from, but social media is a really good place for people to feel connected to you, and all of them work together. And then ultimately, all of those can help build up that word of mouth, which is the absolute number one way to sell books. And that's probably my favorite, but there's no place that you can buy word of mouth right now. And Daniel, as soon as I learn it, I will let you know. But until then, we've got to create value and create connections, and then they'll buy the book.
Indeed, create your value and brand, Mr. David. Very well said. Beautifully articulated. How important is building an author brand when marketing your work?
It's very important. In fact, today, the theory is everything you do around your book should center on you. Now, some of us may not want to be that front and center person, but today people do want connection. 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, people were buying books regardless of who the author was. So we just wanted content. We wanted to be educated, encouraged, inspired, or entertained, but we could care less, for the most part, who the author was. Today, people want connection. You can blame it on the social media influencers, if you will, but I think it's a great thing, because once they start to fall in love with you, they know, like, and trust you, 20% of that audience will buy whatever else you offer them. So give that connection to them. And the best way to do it is to build that personal brand as you as an author, an authority in the space, very accessible. You can write 20 books like me, but it all should come to like one website to get to know who you are and all the things you are. And having that professional brand is that subconscious way they can trust you, but also a great way for them to get connected to you and all the things that you offer.
Indeed. Mr. David, what are the some of the biggest marketing mistakes new writers make?
Oh my gosh, there's a lot, and we all make them because we may not fully understand, what we need to do. But one of the biggest things is they start too late. The best time to start marketing your book is the moment you decide to write it, or today.
Yes.
Because if you do what most authors do, is they hide a book real close to the chest until it's finished. It may already be published. It may already be available online, and they just bounce out of nowhere and go, "Hey, I wrote a book. It's about this, but really it's about me. Help me be an Amazon bestseller, yada, yada, yada." And people just don't respond to it very well. So start planting seeds. Because Daniel, we as authors have got to cross two bridges between now and the time that we can effectively say, "Hey, go buy my book." And that first bridge, regardless of the genre, is that authority bridge. It's where people need to see you as that right person bringing this content to them. And you do that by saying and being vulnerable, "Hey, I've decided to write a book. It's about this." And you start stepping into that role and giving content, share the process. "I've submitted it to my editor. Yay, I've submitted it to the publisher. I got rejected. I got picked up." And you just really carry them down this path with you. You do a contract signing announcement, you do the cover reveal, and you just start bringing an audience down this path with you. Because what happens is, in the early days, it may be smaller physical or social circles, but they'll get excited with you and they'll hold you accountable to finishing it, because most people who start books don't finish them. And that's not fun. But then as that time grows and you step into that role and your audience starts to grow around the book, then they become very vested in this process with you, where they're really looking, "How can I support you? When can I buy the book? How can I tell my friends to buy the book?" And you really do well. And if you do that bridge good, then you end up crossing the second bridge with no extra effort. Now, I call the second bridge the permissions bridge, straight out of Seth Godin's book, Permissions Marketing. It's really where you earn the right to ask. You've earned the
Yes.
right to say, "Hey, support me now financially. Give me $20 for my book." And in publishing, it's all about the pre-order. So you definitely want to have time to build up that momentum, build up that early platform to get them to say yes, and they will. That's one of the biggest mistakes. The other mistake is we will fall victim to maybe a little bit of self-doubt, or listening to those that are around us who really are just trying to take care of us or protect us, we've all had them, a friend, maybe of a mentor or a spouse would come to you and say, "Oh my gosh, Daniel, the book's done. It's out. Yay. Wonderful. Good job. Now shut up. You've been talking about this book for years." And sometimes, and they're just looking out for you, because most authors fail, which is not your audience. They're going to learn how to continue forward, and they don't want to see you fail. So they think they're trying to help you. But what I need you to know is that, remember when I said it needs to take somebody 7 to 27 times before they're ready to make the point or to buy the book. People will start poo-pooing on your parade about that same time that you're almost to that 27th time. And if you stop or change, you got to start all over again. So I want you to know it's coming, that somebody's going to discourage you. Somebody might be trying to, get in your way. And again, they may be well-meaning. But when it does, I want you to expect it. I want you to embrace it, because that means you're almost there and you just love them, pat them on the back, and you keep going forward. Because if you can get past that, that's where you will shine, because that's where most authors stop. And if you can just keep going, that's when the real magic will happen. So those are two of the best mistakes that authors make that are absolutely avoidable, that are absolutely impactful if you can get past them.
Consistency is the key, people. One of the key. Mr. David, how can authors market their books without sounding too salesy or pushy?
Yeah. Well, the one thing that you've got to remember is that you do need to market the book, and you do need to talk about the book and the content. But the best way to not sound salesy or markety is to be engaged. Share the wisdom of the book, share the content, and share the process. Give away content freely, let them know that you're the authority in the space, and just try to serve, perceivably for nothing in return. And that's why that pre-marketing, before the book comes out, is so important. But even after the book comes out, it's about adding value, giving content, and giving access to you. And then if you do that consistently, people will start to resonate with you, and they'll start to look out for you. Another great way to add to that is, as you're doing some marketing, whether it's speaking or workshops or even podcast guesting, is you do want to try to drive people back to your website to gain some sort of, content that they can take away. Whether it's, again, in guerrilla marketing, we call it an ethical bribe, but it could be an assessment. It could be a sample chapter. It could be some coloring pages if you're a kid's book author, just something to get them to come to the website, to get to know you more, and hopefully surrender their name and email addresses for some sort of asset that you're giving them. A lead magnet's also called something that they'll be willing to surrender their name and address for. And then if you can nurture that relationship with a consistent email, just as you said a moment ago, Daniel, consistency matters. So you could just do a short email once a week, once every other week, or once a month. Just do that consistently, and you educate, and you encourage, you inspire them, you entertain them, and they learn more about the book. And as they start to fall in love with you, then they'll buy the book, and then they'll tell their friends, and you don't sound salesy. You sound very helpful and very approachable.
Indeed. Totally agree with you, Mr. David. And as an author and an owner of a publishing house, what will be your short-term and long-term goals?
So the cool thing about being an author is it gets in your blood. I'm on my 22nd book, and an audience will follow you through your entire career as an author, as long as you're consistent with maintaining a touch with them, creating value for them, and looping them into all the things you've got going on. My short-term goals are to help others realize their goals with the power of the books that I'm bringing to them, but nurture that relationship so that I could help them for future books. And then, of course, as a publisher, hopefully one day, as these readers read my books, they'll want to publish books of their own, and then we'll have a great opportunity to work together in that form. But definitely always want to be looking at both the short-term goal of starting those relationships and the long-term goal of adding value and creating opportunities for them to deeper engage with you. I teased earlier about 20% of your audience, once they get to know you, will buy whatever else you offer them. So second books, series of books, workshops, a keynote speech, something along those lines. Always be thinking about 2 products ahead of the book, because your audience is going to want them. So that's one of the long-term goals.
Good luck to your goals, Mr. David, and looking for more success. What will be your advice for those people out there want to write their own book?
Yeah. I say do it. Do not think of the book, because you will get overwhelmed. In fact, even for me on my 22nd book, I kind of get hung up on, I'm writing another book and I really want it to be good and I want it to be all about this. But I want you to think about the small pieces. Think about the outline. What do you really want to get across? What do you want them to do when they're finishing your book? And you just write to the pieces. In fact, most of my books are 10, 12 chapters. Each one of the books have 5 or 8 topics in each one of the chapters, and I just write to those individual topics. I write a book a paragraph at a time. I don't write a book at a time. So I think that's going to be a big piece of advice for the authors that are writing is definitely write and just start putting your ideas together. You can work with a great editor who can help you organize them and maybe make you sound better, like make me sound better down the road. But the most important thing is to write. So I always write to the outline. And if you're a busy entrepreneur who doesn't have the bandwidth, you can certainly work with a book coach or even a ghostwriter that can help pull the content out of your head. The most important thing is if you got a passion for a message, just start writing.
Start writing now, people. Just do it and stop procrastinating. Most of the people out there procrastinating. Right. If you have the passion to write.
That's right.
So, Mr. David, are you planning, or if a writer has just 1 hour a day to market their book, how should they spend it?
So I always say you need to do 5 things in a perfect world every day. So just you've got to do something. So I would say put a post on social media about your process, do a podcast interview if you can, draft an email to go along with your email sequences. You just got to do something every day. And it doesn't need to be major. Make a phone call to your local bookstore or stop by your local bookstore for a book signing. And there's a strategic way to even do that. It's about them. It's not about you. But those are the things. You just need to do something, small steps every day. In fact, truth be told, as busy as I am, I typically will do 3 things a week. So when you start getting your platform built, you don't have to think, I'm going to be doing an hour a day every day for the rest of my life. Once you start building up the momentum, it can be very helpful. But the key is to be consistent. You've got to do something every week. You've got to do something, in this case, every day. Just do something and do it consistently. You'll be much more powerful and effective if you did an email every Tuesday morning or every other Tuesday morning, rather than doing a bunch of emails on Sunday, then Wednesday, then Friday, then skipping 2 weeks and do another one on a Thursday. Your audience won't resonate with that. But if you're doing it every Tuesday at 8 a.m., for example, it's basically what I do, people will expect it. They'll expect it in their inbox. And if you miss the time, they're going to start calling you or emailing you, where's my newsletter? So that consistency builds trust, but it also builds expectation, and they start to respond quicker. So you just got to do something every day, and it doesn't need to be major, but just keep doing something. 5 things every time you sit down would be great.
Consistency and baby steps. People, what role do book reviews play in the guerrilla marketing, and how can writers get them?
Reviews are very important. Whether they're verified reviews or not, it doesn't really matter. People do feel comfortable investing in a book or an author, a potential relationship with an author, if they've seen that other people have successfully gone down the path and have enjoyed the book. So the cool thing is write good books, but then don't forget to ask for reviews. People expect it. So periodically remind your audience, hey, don't forget to go put a review for me if the book is good. In fact, Daniel, I do it in a fun way. If I'm talking to somebody who has read my book, I'm like, hey, if you love it, tell all your friends, write a review on Amazon. But if you didn't love it, we never had this conversation. So even if you even if you have great physical bookstore distribution, people still love to go to Amazon to read the reviews. It's a great place to have that. The cool thing about the reviews, especially on Amazon, is the more reviews you get, the more things that are opened up for opportunities for publishers. So for instance, when an author has 25 reviews, there are additional marketing things that I could pay for Amazon to do to market the book. And then like at 100 reviews, Amazon will start investing their own money to market a book. So reviews are really powerful for that way too. But reviews do help people who haven't discovered you feel comfortable with buying the book. So you definitely want them. You definitely want to encourage your audience to put them out there. And it does help a lot. Absolutely helps a lot.
Mr. David, what is the most underrated form of a book promotion you think writers overlook?
I would say it's the email marketing. I mean, we all hate receiving emails, but your email list is one of the most valuable things that you can have. You can send emails on a regular basis and touch your audience directly without any interference from some algorithm that's going to block you or some political movement that might not want your voice to be heard. Your direct relationship with an email list is extremely valuable. In fact, companies have been bought and sold for millions and millions of dollars because of the value of their list, not only the number of emails they have, but that relationship that they have with that list, their open rates and things like that. Start with one, maybe two. Daniel and I will be on your list. So just start a list, but grow
Yes.
that. And it's very powerful. And again, you and I might be tired of receiving emails, but they still work and you own it.
Yes, people. Email campaigns still work. What we do here to uh, create more, and more subscriber. And Mr. David, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people, because my abstract essay is already in its fifth season, abstract poetry in second season, and of course, book 101 review in its fifth season as well, comedy 101 in second season, and food 101 in its fifth season, and geography and love letters and third season, and my baby podcast mental health 101 and movie 101 review and music 101 in its fourth season. So please do listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. Mr. David, are you planning to update the book or release a new version with tools for today's platforms?
Oh, I'm so glad you answered that or asked that, Daniel. And thank you for all these podcasts and this way for us to be connected to you. You're definitely a prolific content creator, so well done.
Thank
So
you so
yes,
much.
I have been working on a third edition of Guerrilla Marketing for Writers for years. As I kind of alluded at the beginning of the show, my dear friend, mentor, and co-author Jay Conrad Levinson, the founder of Guerrilla Marketing, passed years ago. So it's very hard and emotional for me to update the book. But I'm very glad to say that is now done, and our effectively the third edition of Guerrilla Marketing will be a book called The Babylon Blueprint for Authors by David Hancock. It will be in the stores in the fall, so keep your eye out for that. And if you like the book, if you go to gmarketingforwriters.com, that's gmarketingforwriters.com, you can download a copy of the ebook of the Guerrilla Marketing for Writers book, and you'll be added to my email newsletter, which I will let you know more about the Babylon Blueprint for Authors when it comes out. And I'll have 115 new weapons that you can use to leverage your book and grow your authorship.
Awesome, awesome, Mr. David, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge to the world. Mr. David Hancock, Street Journal and US Today best-selling author and the founder of Morgan James Publishing. Let's support him so that people out there, most especially writers and authors, will be empowered. So, Mr. David, can you please invite our listeners to support all your books as well as your publishing house?
I'm grateful. Thank you so much. So you can learn more about Morgan James and the books that we like to publish and even get to know me at morganjamespublishing.com. And again, to grab an asset of one of our books like Guerrilla Marketing for Writers, just go to gmarketingforwriters.com and you'll get on my list and we can communicate there. I'd love to get to know you and support you and however I can help you down your path. I am passionate about authors and marketing and honored to do so.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. David Hancock because if you support him, as I said, more and more empowered writers to come and more empowering books to come. So, Mr. David, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
More to come, people. See you soon.